have very similar hair in the back of their head and that they have none. So I said,
will you stay up here much next season?
Totally depends. Yeah, totally. Hopefully. Yeah. Do you do all the stuff for Hinch? Good man. Yeah. Yeah. My brother-in-law used to play here in the wing, actually. My brother-in-law used to play here in the wing. Yeah. Kyle Corrigan.
Oh, aye.
Yeah. I know 9 years ago, so like. Yeah.
Okay, I'd say we're going to be going live soon enough, lads.
I used to be the Ulster for 12 years.
Oh, did you? Brilliant.
Lovely. You throw us over a bottle of water there for it. Yeah, I'll take it.
So
No, we don't need other dust. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry, we've got it.
We're live on that screen, yeah. Perfect. Just make sure we only take verified results from sources. So if somebody's on the bus with your father who's had a couple of drinks, will be 2 minutes to go.
So we're going, Dara. We're going teams and we're going that sort of stuff.
Yes, we are going on the running order there at the very, very start.
Yep.
Good afternoon and welcome.
Yep.
The graphic of the table will come up on the screen, but we'll be able to add it anyway. So
Perfect. Yep.
So there's no panic. Yeah, perfect, thanks. Much appreciated. Oh, it's all about to kick off here, Benner has it. That's a nice tweet you had there. It's all about to kick off here, yeah. Hello. 30 seconds. You have the 1A graphic table ready to go in the next few minutes, Kieran, have you? You are a beautiful man, do you know that? Perfect. Ten seconds. Good afternoon and welcome to Ballynahinch Park in County Down for this Energia All-Ireland League fixture. Ballynahinch face off against Trinity College. With you in commentary this afternoon, Darragh Frawley and Stuart McAvoy. Kick-off is at 4 o'clock, as you've just heard, and we will have updates from all 24 fixtures which are coming to a round finish about now. Stuart McAvoy, a lovely dry track here. Spring is in the air. The red and white was flowing in the clubhouse. It's a good place to be.
Certainly is, yeah. Great to be here and great to be involved. Yeah, I'm expecting, hopefully, as you say, it's a good try track, and I'm expecting a few tries out here, Darragh. Some place to play rugby, and also such a tight affair, 5th v 6th. It's all happening in this league.
We will be seeing the Division 1A table of the Energia All-Ireland League in just a few moments' time. But in terms of the context of the game and the magnitude, Stuart, Tony Sneed and Adam Craig, you'd normally see guys playing it down, but they know today they have to win if they want to be in contact with top four come April.
Yeah, pretty much win or bust, I would say, for both teams. So tight, and we talked about it earlier, Trinity 7 points away from 4 and then 7 points away from 9th. And also, Ballynahinch, they've actually never made the playoffs, Darragh, so in this league, and they're building something that looks to be pretty good under Adam Craig. So, if they can win today, they're right on the heels of that 4th place.
Indeed, as we said, Ballynahinch currently sit in 5th place on 37 points, Trinity in 6th on 36th. Lansdowne are currently in play against Young Munsters. We'll bring those scores to you. UCD playing against Terranure, as well as another 22 games across the 5 divisions. A point we spoke about, Stuart, before the game was the fact that Trinity haven't won since November 12th against Shannon, 34 points to 28, and Cork Constitution was the last time Ballynahinch lost here November 26th. So Ballynahinch's home form is hugely important today, but at the same time Trinity extremely dangerous on the road.
Yeah, definitely, and that run has to come to an end there at some stage. They have had plenty of injuries, of course, and the likes of Harry Sheridan, who's boosted up into the Ulster squad, which is great to see, and Paddy McCarthy away, and they're 2 big losses plus another number of injuries. But you said Ballynahinch have a great record, and they do indeed with that win, against Terenure, and they'll be looking to go again today and really put the heat on.
Indeed, as we saw on the table there, Clontarf do sit top of the pile, Terenure in second, Cork Constitution in third, and Young Munsters in fourth. There are a lot of Lansdowne fans, Stuart, in the Ballynahinch clubhouse earlier on. We heard with their game against Young Munsters, as there would be UCD fans or Terenure in Trinity's case. In terms of the teams today, we spoke about the likes of Colm Hogan with Trinity and with the Ballynahinch team. There is plenty of talent on show. Is there anyone in particular, Trinity-wise, that you've had your eye on?
Well, I like to look at Aaron Egan, actually. I've seen him a lot last year. He's a good running 10. Also likes to kick in attack when he has ball in hand. And then you mentioned him there, Hogan. Obviously played for Leinster against Chile and sort of trying to get maybe on the radar with a professional team, but doing a great job here. Scored a couple of tries last week. Really is the heartbeat of this Trinity team at fullback. So quick and actually such a smart player as well from the back. Scans everything, and when the right time to go, we'll see him no doubt today pick his moment and fly through, no doubt.
The Trinity team, as we've said, there was a debate in the clubhouse beforehand as to whether they're Dublin University or Trinity. So for anyone listening, we're saying both to cover our tracks. Trinity line out as follows: Colm Hogan, as Stuart McAvoy said, one of the ones to watch this afternoon at 15, and one of the more seasoned pros in the side. Liam McMahon and Ronan Quinn will keep him company on both wings. Louis McDonough and Gavin Jones at 12 and 13. Aaron Egan, who is more affectionately known as Ego on the Twitter of Trinity. I'm not sure if that's something to read into, but Ted Walsh, who fills in at 9. Captain Louis O'Reilly is injured, but Ted Walsh enabled deputy. Ruan Byron, Dan Barron and Felix Campbell are the back row for the Dublin University side, and Steve Woods and Jack Carney will fill the engine room, with Thomas Connolly, Jerry Kerr and Mark Nicholson in the front row. Zach Baird, Cole Kelly, Ciúin Doyle, Diarmaid McCormack, Liam Nolan and Harry Colbert make up the bench. Stuart, we spoke about to Tony Smeeth rather about the a lot of changes, disruption if you will call it, Irish under-20s inside there, but there is a feeling if they can manage to sneak a win here today, with the addition of a couple of bodies coming back in, that they will have an opportunity to get into the top 4. Yeah,
and if there's one man that knows about this league, it's Tony Smeeth. He was telling me there walking over to speak to you, it's his 24th year if I'm right at the club. Phenomenal. And what a job he's done. But yeah, you're right, as you say, the dry track, but also they'll be hurting. What's it been, 4 months now since they haven't won? Obviously, as we've mentioned, touched on why that may be the case. But today, a fresh start, let's go again, and really a last chance saloon.
Indeed. As we said, Trinity last win came against Shannon, 34 points to 28 in November. The sequence of losses for them: 38-21 against Clontarf last week, Stuart, 43-17 against Shannon. They've been two blips in a calendar. If you were looking in from the outside and you saw that, you would have thought that Trinity perhaps had fallen off, but prior to those fixtures, 17-10 away to Young Munsters, 12-7 against Terenure, 32-27 loss against Conan, a 35-all draw. We know Trinity have it in them to have a performance, and not just a performance, but potentially win here today.
Yeah, and they always seem to get something. What we were chatting before, 14 bonus points they've had, be it losing or try-scoring bonus points. And what a start they had to the season, those 5 wins. But yeah, they're losing bonus points. I mean, they'll always be in this game. They don't seem to fade away too much, and they'll be hurting after. I know it was the top of the league last week, they lost, but they came back in that second half and looked pretty sharp.
In terms of the Ballynahinch outfit, they line out as follows: Ethan Graham will be at 15, Fergus Gemfrey and Aaron Cairns, a former captain of the club, will be his deputies on both wings. George Pringle and Mark Best, who have been in scintillating form for the county downside, make up the centre partnership. Greg Hutley and Chris Gibson, the halfbacks. Bradley Lunny, Matt Ray and Zach McCall will captain from open side. Tom Martin, Cormac Izuchukwu in. Captain Thomas Donnan is out for a number of weeks, but an able deputy in Cormac Izuchukwu. Kyle McCall, George Sanderson and former Irish under-20 hooker Josh Hanlon make up the front row for the Hinch side. Nacho Cladera, John Dixon, James Simpson, Conor McKee, Ryan Wilson and Jack Milligan make up the bench for Hinch. Stuart, a nice mixture, I suppose, of physicality and ability to play is something that we've seen come in, and your mate Adam Craig said before the game that belief was something that they brought in, but they're playing a nice brand of rugby this season.
They are indeed playing a good brand, but obviously, as they all say, it starts up front, and you mentioned him there, Izuchukwu there. He's come a long way from playing in Kelso and serving in Sainsbury's. What a story it is. It's unbelievable. just coming across and getting picked up by the sevens and then in with Ulster. And he's so powerful and abrasive, and it'll be interesting to see how he goes today. Even speaking to him before, I said to him, going out there to carry, and you could just tell the smile on his face, seems to love the game and making great inroads at Ulster.
The result last week, Adam Craig didn't shy away from it. They were beaten 21-0 against Young Munsters. But let's speak about the home form of them. We mentioned Clontarf and Cork on, the only two teams to win here. We've associated Ballynahinch with forward dominance, with a lot of eking out victories, but with the addition of Mark Best and George Pringle into the team, they are playing a very, very good brand of rugby. And as we were saying beforehand, when I come to you for a score prediction, we don't feel it's going to be a 12-6 kind of a game. We feel both teams openly are going to go for this.
Well, we've teed it up, so there must be tries, or else we're in trouble. They won't look after us in the clubhouse after. But you mentioned there Mark Best and George Pringle. Bestie, is retired from professional rugby, so much experience under his belt, with Ulster, Doncaster, Jersey, seems to be loving it here, and also playing as that extra playmaker to create space. And he was saying George Pringle's had a really good season. I think he mentioned something like 10 tries, so he obviously puts him away into space, and he's lightning quick. Indeed.
As we said, kickoff is fast approaching here. 4 minutes to go. Today's broadcast is brought to you by Energia, who are the sponsors of Energia All-Ireland League. If you are watching this broadcast, it is a co-production between the Club Scene podcast and Irish Rugby. Please use the hashtag Energia AIL, and whatever club you were in before, during or after a game, please take a photo and use the hashtag Energia AIL. The minis are getting ready to come out onto the pitch here, Stuart. With the size of the players these days, I'm happy to be in the newly built commentary position. But in terms of the kick-off time, 4 o'clock, we've spoken about this at length over the phone and whatnot, but it's a win-win. We've seen a packed clubhouse, a packed car park, the kids are in, the partners are in. It seems to be the way forward.
Yeah, it does indeed. 4 o'clock's great, and also you can touch on the other scores which have happened, which makes it quite exciting looking at the league tables. But you've spoken, Ballynahinch is such a great club for the minis and stuff. They all seem to stick together. They have 5 or 6 teams up the club in the senior side, and that is, not many clubs have that there, and it's a real good culture here, and they seem to love it when they join.
In terms of what's being said in the changing rooms, Stuart, they're cliched things. Tony Smead has an air of confidence about him. Why wouldn't he after 23 years in the game with Trinity? How important is a good start for Trinity here, particularly with the result they had against Clontarf last week?
Yeah, well, I say, if they don't start well, the heads might drop. And after that defeat last week, it could maybe not go their way. But if they score early on, they'll fancy it and a bit of confidence. It could create anything.
And in terms of Ballynahinch, we mentioned Adam Craig joked about watering the field a couple of about an hour ago. As we said, it is going to be a dry track. What kind of game are you expecting from Ballynahinch today? A mix of physicality and open rugby? Yeah, I think it will be pretty physical. They'll know they can maybe dominate in that front eight if they get it going. But also, Trinity have to be careful because Greg Hutley, he's kicking it over 90% there, and we've talked about the centres. Then Aaron Cairns, has been capped at Ulster a long time ago, but he has, and Fergus Gemfrey, a sevens flyer, and Ethan Graham at fullback. So you mentioned there about what game plan. I think they'll mix it up quite well, and I think they've done that pretty standout this season. Indeed, they have. As we said, please use the hashtag Energia All-Ireland League when using this broadcast. In terms of the score, Stuart, the dreaded score prediction before the teams come out for this 4 o'clock kickoff, who are you having and scoreline? Well, I'm obviously not going to go against the home side, especially being, a former Belfast Harlequin. But Dara, what did I say to you before? 20 points to 18 to Ballynahinch. So I'm going there in a tight game. And allow me to ask you and put you on the spot. What are you saying? What's your score prediction? How kind of you. I think there'll be over 45 points in the game, the same as amount of points that have been drank in the clubhouse by the Ballynahinch and Trinity faithful. But I think a narrow win for Ballynahinch here, but Trinity to take them the full distance, Stuart. If I'm being honest, as both teams come out here, there will be a moment's silence for a legend of Ballynahinch, Billy Jameson, who passed away this week. A legend in the club, and the flag, as you can see in your picture there, at half-mast as the players come out. As we said, we will bring results of all the games as we get them. The 4 o'clock or thereabouts mark will be coming into our studio in Limerick, and we will feed those results as we get to you. We will be going through half-time, and we will have full league tables and graphics at the end of this game. The minute silence impeccably observed here in Ballynahinch Park, and we're all set, Stuart McAvoy, for this 4 p.m. kick-off. Peter Martin, the man in the middle. A fresh spring afternoon, you might say.
Yeah, definitely, and let's hope, as he normally does, lets the game flow, because that's all we want. We always say that before a game, don't we, Dara? We just want running rugby.
Trinity will play from left to right. Aaron Egan has been in such fantastic form for the college side. At out half, dare I say there isn't a puff of wind, but from our commentary position, thankfully we can't feel it. Crowd still filtering in here. We're underway. Great take from Izichukwu there. Gibson moves the ball out. It's a good early carry from Hinch here. You see their physicality. Straight from the mark. Electing to go to the right hand side, and it's Lunny again, the 8. Big carry from the big man. And Pringle elects to go here. And they're on the outside is Hinch. On the right hand side of the field, it's good rugby early doors. And Peter Martin says it's a breakdown. Good start, Stuart McAvoy.
Yeah, definitely. And you asked before 5 minutes ago what way we expected to play, and we thought Trinity would move the ball, but Ballynahinch did that down the short side, and we saw first real side of George Pringle out the back of the hand. Pretty impressive.
Pringle and Best have added a real variety to Hinch's game.
Yeah, as you say, and of course Mark Best will also kick to the corner. Real natural footballer.
Hinch with an opportunity now into the red zone, their first attacking launch play. McCall at the tail of the line out, giving his numbers in Spanish, I believe, trying to throw Trinity off the centre of the line out. Hanlon with the ball in his hands, the former Irish under-20. Lunny, the dummy, Izichukwu takes it, and Hinch set them all, and it's a good foundation. Martin joins it in now, and Trinity under real pressure here. Martin tells them to go around, and Hinch are motoring really, really well here. About 6 metres short as they go around. Are they going to be stopped here? Hinch early doors, and they're over the line. And Stuart McAvoy, that's an incredible start for Hinch. Just exactly what they would have wanted.
Yeah, the whole cavalry was in there, making it 22-metre driving maul. Dara, we've come here to see a bit of running rugby, but they went through the heart of the students there.
And like all good hookers, Josh Hanlon getting the plaudits there. As we said, he'll be delighted with that. His first start of the afternoon hits Izichukwu, and the forwards with a really, really good base there.
Yeah, like Cam.
In Ballynahinch Park. Decent strike, but tails off to the left, and Ballynahinch take the lead 5 points to nil after 4 minutes here in Ballynahinch Park. Stuart McAvoy, any early nerves from Ballynahinch firmly put to bed?
Yeah, certainly put to bed. The start this crowd certainly wanted. Greg Hutley there doesn't miss many, no doubt won't. We'll get back on track shortly from the tee. As I said, over 90%, and there he is, finding a fine touch with the outside of the right boot there.
The basics have always been something that Hinch have done incredibly well, and it appears that they're happy enough to play rugby in Hinch's half early doors.
Yeah, of course. You've got to get first 10 minutes right of what they've done, and also got to play territory as well. They're not going to run willy-nilly, and why would they? Particularly with that pack we've just seen.
Mark Nicholson with his first line out of the afternoon. Trinity, little two-step dummy line-up. But Izichukwu reads that very, very well. Gets a paw to it, but Trinity will have the ball again. Decent variety from Trinity, but you see the prowess of Izichukwu there, Stuart.
Yeah, a week ago, where was he? Was he in South Africa playing against the Sharks getting a win? Now he's here, County Down, loving life.
Great to see the players released. Nicholson Good dart to the tail of the line out, taken very, very well by Woods. Trinity through Byron, met very, very well by Best in midfield. Trinity go on this side again. Ball through Colm Hogan. Hogan's so elusive with the ball in hand. Does well to stay off the touchline. Back into Louis McDonough. McDonough fights very well, and now Trinity have an attack of their own inside in the 22. But Peter Martin says, little knock on the ground. Hinch defend very, very well, but we've seen how dangerous Trinity can be in that first attack.
Yeah, you saw there how flat Egan was, playing, of course, Irish universities, and then getting away to Hogan. All right, there wasn't much space you could see, though he's electric with those spindle fibres, and Hinch actually stood up well and defended him.
Instonians have been promoted to the men's Division 2B of the Energia All-Ireland League with 3 runs to spare after a 56-7 win this afternoon. Stuart McAvoy, as we said, they are on for the perfect season. I don't think it's ever been done before, but congratulations to Instonians, and rest assured it will not be a quiet night in Shaw's Bridge tonight. Yeah,
I say there'll be plenty drunk there tonight, but you know, you're chatting about this week in the Club Scene podcast that you do so well, but 90 points you're saying it hasn't been done. I totally agree, but there might be archives back to the 1800s. It could have been done there.
Potentially there. Peter Martin says that Trinity lost their footing, and John Gunson, the forwards coach, will be absolutely delighted with Hinch's start up front here. Their physicality, their line out maul and their scrum, all on top early doors here in Ballynahinch Park as Greg Hutley finds touch on the 10 metre line in the Ballynahinch half.
Yeah, you mentioned John Gunson there. One of the men, of course, in that 2009 season. Team of the Year, won every trophy under the sun.
Still dining off it inside the clubhouse, I hear.
Yeah, Bateman Cup plus everything else, Division 2.
Trinity this time do get a hand up. Peter Martin says the ball has gone back. Kearney plays at 9 there. He's met very, very well by George Saunderson. Looks like no arms there from Zach McCall, and it's seen, and Trinity say let's go. But Peter Martin's going to have a little chat there. Kyle McCall with no arms in the tackle, and Peter Martin gives a shrug of the shoulders like a doorman would to somebody coming up on a night out. Don't do that again.
Yeah, first real sight though of Ted Walsh there at 9. You know, coming in, a couple of injuries, Lou O'Reilly, but we saw his injection of pace and how they want to play.
Aaron Egan lands Trinity just outside the 22, as there's a convening of minds. Thomas Connolly, the tight head, the tail of the line out. Steve Woods and Jack Kearney, they go for Kearney, but that doesn't look straight, and referee Peter Martin says that Stuart, at any level in terms of chances taken, particularly away from home with the start Trinity have had, they need to get a foothold in this game and take those chances when they're in Ballynahinch's half.
Yeah, 2 young second rows there, and Kearney and Woods, and of course when you're missing the likes of Harry Sheridan, there's going to be a bit of a gap there, especially who's calling the line out, but you know, those boys will want to respond and come back from that.
Harry Sheridan, who has had a phenomenal start with Ulster, pretty much played every minute with Trinity up until around Christmas time, till Dan McFarlane got his hands on him.
Yeah, and last year, what did he play, 18 games in a row? Not many people do that.
Gibson with the feed. Hinch having a real go at that scrum there, but Trinity holding their own for the time being. Peter Martin says we'll reset.
Dar, we haven't even touched on the likes of Matty Ray at 6, 83 caps for Ulster, so what a man to bring into the team. Coming back from injury as well, you know.
Great to see those players, Stuart, as we said, Izuchukwu and Matty Ray.
Yeah, and also these guys need game time. You know, we've seen levels pretty good out there, so why wouldn't, you know, if you're not playing starting or in the 23 for Ulster, get on the paddock on a Saturday and play AIL. Surely it's good for their development and also just to play rugby.
Gibson with the feed. Hinch decide to have a little nibble at scrum time, and you can see there why not. And the majority of Ballynahinch Park, as you can hear there on the sidelines, delighted with that, and they've set down an early marker.
Bit of celebrating there. You would have thought they scored a try, even a bonus point try, the way Sanderson, Hanlon and McCall. But talk about intent. Absolute power from all 8 of them, Dara.
Hutley with a thumper of a kick. Lands Hinch about 15 metres outside the 22. Hanlon has the ball. Hinch are going to run off a 5-man line-out. Is it Chukwu, Lunny and Matty Ray with Captain McCall as the +1. Great take, one-handed from Lunny. Decent set, but you can see there Peter Martin, Matty Ray I think it was, just a little bit upright on that first foundation on the right hand side. The old rule there, Stuart, they would have been saying that you needed to be able to see the receiver's number, and in all fairness to Peter Martin, he's been fairly consistent with his calls.
Yeah, he was straight in there, wasn't he, on top of it and just penalising. What about the taking the line out though? The one just plucked it out of there with one hand.
I think I heard a couple of the Ballynahinch faithful saying hang it in the Louvre if they got a photo of it, but superb athlete is Brad Lunny, long-time servant to the Hinch club.
Yeah, they have a great catchment area, you know, down high, Sullivan, Wallace, never mind the big schools, so-called Methodist or Inst. They recruit boys very well.
Trinity with a little bit of variation, get a clean ball at the front. Use Walsh as a second receiver, out the back again, Egan. Saw the backfield on the move there. Ball is taken very, very well. Good fend there by Aaron Cairns, former captain of the club. So many experienced players in this Hinch side. McCall with a carry again. Gibson setting up for a box. High hanging. The spring air here in Ballymacarn Park, 5 points to 0 to Ballynahinch over Trinity midway through first half. Good confrontational hit there by Sanderson. Trinity on the move. They need support here on the inside. Felix Campbell with a great carry. He's met by Gibson, calls of high tackles from Trinity here. They're in the 22, this is where they're so dangerous. Egan on the move. Little bit of a lazy runner there, but it's good running there from Trinity. Louis McDonough, they're about 6 metres short. And Ballynahinch. Stuart, we spoke about physicality, but those little gaps that start to open up, Trinity will get through them no matter how big or small.
Yeah, Felix Campbell, like a thief in the night there, straight through. No one a post and pillar, and away he went. And also good to see Ted Walsh on his shoulder running those positive lines.
Gibson and Walsh with a subplot of their own there. Gibson with a superb cover tackle there after the phenomenally good break from Felix Campbell. And Aaron Egan says, let's go to the corner.
What about Colm Hogan there, Dara, with the socks down, Chris Latham style, doesn't he?
I don't think anybody on that Trinity team is young enough to remember Chris Latham, Stuart, other than Colm Hogan. Trinity go towards the front. Is it Chukwu goes but doesn't get in? It's a lovely little peel around the front here, and Trinity are on the move towards the line. Taken down just short. Little pick and go. They need to be careful not to pre-latch here. It's been a real addition to their game this season, the physicality through Hinch. And it's Campbell. And he's close, but it looks like he's knocked it on there on that side, and it's a turnover for Hinch. Trinity inches away from getting their first score of the afternoon. Small margins here is 5th place, 6th. And Peter Martin says we'll have a goal line dropout. Small margins, Stuart.
And that's the way it's been going for Trinity. When the luck isn't in, it fully isn't. Good intent, but the pick and jam, probably the right call, but just lack of execution and a wee knock on there.
We've seen teams with specialist plays at all levels from this goal line dropout. Hutley having a conversation with the Brains Trust in the forwards before he decides to send it downfield. There does seem to be a little bit of a gust in favour of Ballynahinch as the ball lands with Liam McMahon and he hits Hogan. Hogan with good footwork. Met well by Izzy Chukwu, who's got through a decent amount of work here, but the rolling of East or West and Hogan. Martin says the ball didn't leave daylight between his foot.
I'm not sure Colm Hogan agrees there, but Peter Martin just didn't even look at him and said, this is my call. Interesting though.
Trinity electing to take the points here.
Yeah, a couple of minutes ago they went to the corner and now decided get it back to a 2-point game.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that, because in the first instance, obviously the kick was quite difficult from the corner, so given the angle they probably took that, but rest assured Tony Smead and his coaching staff will want to make sure that they get on the board early doors here, and if this goes over, it will be a 2-point game. Egan has been fantastic to watch all season, Stuart.
Yeah, he has, and doesn't seem to shy away from anything, even if a back row are up quickly on him. Always has that sort of extra time on the ball and seems to always find the right pass.
Right-legged, no mistake. Aaron Egan, 1 from 1 on the tee. Score here in Ballynahinch Park. Ballynahinch 5, Trinity 3. A little bit of tension in the air, Stuart.
Yeah, especially after that early score from Hinch. Sort of both teams are seeing each other out at the moment. You know, they know, as we've talked about, how crucial the result is today.
Quarter of an hour gone here, 5 points to 3. Good carry again from McMahon, he's done well when on the ball. Hinch wary not to give Trinity spaces out wide because they do like to play, but Hogan says let's go downtown, and it's a super kick out of him. Well fielded by Ethan Graham. Moves inside to Hutley. Hutley to Chukwu, but he's met very well by Louis McDonough there. McDonough's been extremely physical on both sides of the ball early doors here in Ballynahinch Park. Hinch looked to set up on the left hand side. Good carry from McCall, but Trinity's defence, we spoke about physicality before the game, they're bringing it in spades. McCall and McDonough again eager for work here. Chris Gibson has seen enough, doesn't want to tire out his forwards. Arranging his chase line both sides, and sends a high hanging ball. Ted Walsh takes the ball, but is met well, moves into touch, and Aaron Cairns will get a tackle on his stat sheet for that tackle there.
Yeah, you talked about the defence, Louis McDonough, you know, captain of the 20s that won the All-Ireland League last year in the under-20s, and more of a natural 12 here, but you know, he's doing a great job at 13, isn't he?
Unbelievably abrasive player. Hanlon, Lunny goes towards the tail. They take a dummy in the middle. Hanlon overcooks that one, but he's bailed out by Saunderson again, and Hinch eke into the half. Looked like a knock on there, but we play on. Captain McCall, lovely zip on the pass from Hutley again. Good variety in the play. George Pringle goes very, very well. Looks to get an offload, but just a little knock on. We've seen, Stuart, between Best and Pringle throughout the course of the season, they can create something from nothing.
Yeah, you know, we saw him early on, Pringle, but he's at it again there, isn't he? Seems to have great feet as well. Was at Northumbria last year, really made good inroads there at university and back here. Falcons were maybe looking at him, but we've seen his class so far.
Great to see, as you said, the likes of Izuchukwu and Matty Ray, when not in the white of Ulster, in the green of Hinch, but for the likes of Mark Best and those who are done with pro rugby to come back playing in the Energy All-Ireland League, it just shows the value in it. Yeah,
and also, you know, Mark Best has been there and done that, so I'm sure George Pringle's asking him, you know, where to be and what to do and sort of how it all works, even at a professional level, if he is lucky enough to get given that a chance later on down the line.
Hinch subs go for a canter as hands start to get a little bit cold across various parts of the ground here. Temperatures dropping, but as we said, very thankful for a dry afternoon in Ballynahinch Park, which is seldom come by.
A bit worried here, Darrow. You know, he said there'd be lots of tries. I've only seen one.
Early doors, George. Early doors. Trinity. And you can see, Stuart, maybe whether or not you could hear that, but down to our left is the Trinity bench, and they're celebrating those big wins. They're trying to get their team into the game here, and it's 1-1 on scrum penalties there. Yeah,
you know, that's a big response from Jerry Carr, Mark Nicholson, Thomas Connolly, because they would have took a confidence dead there from the scrum, which Ballynahinch absolutely destroyed. So to get one back so early on, it's a big feather in their cap.
Trinity will restart the game here on the 10-metre line. As we said, Mark Nicholson in at 2. Trinity with good variation in the line out is Chukwu, trying to decode the calls. Got an early hand up.
course, that whole front row is Irish universities as well. So playing rugby all over the country.
Played a lot of rugby this season. Great take from Woods. Egan takes it really flat to the line. It's Byron straight through a gap, and Byron is on the move. Has he got supporters inside? He does. It's a wonderful line. Trinity now 5 metres short here. They're stacking on the right hand side. Hinch do well to go in. Egan again. He's well marshalled by Izichukwu, who's covered some amount of ground here. Walsh. Byron again, the man who made the break, demands the ball, lands on his back there, and Cairns almost gets a little turnover. Good carry again by Barron. Trinity back row prolific here in the 22. Jerry Kerr. Trinity coming around the corner, old school rugby there, but Hinch looking to come through the ruck. Had they got their hands on it? No, they don't. Walsh has the ball again, goes out the back. Byron, decent skills. Egan was thinking about dropping it on the foot. He's met very well there by Lunny. Hinch with an opportunity again to get width in D. Trinity a little bit tight again. We'll go back to the power game. Through Connolly. An air of silence falls around Ballynahinch Park. Trinity getting into their groove here. Walsh. Woods. McDonough with a good clear out there. Ball goes to ground and referee says it goes backwards. Trinity not really in any real shape here at the moment, but Egan orchestrating from the very back. Nicholson again met by this wall of green. That's reset. Thomas Connolly hit very, very hard by 83 cap Matty Ray. Hinch looked like they're over that ball. They're claiming it, but Peter Martin says play on. Egan 1-to-1 decides to go on the inside. What way is it going to bounce? Cairns bounces back off him. Trinity staying disciplined. Ballynahinch just about have the ball here. It's been in play a long time. And Mark Best, ball is touched here. What way is it going to bounce? On the way back in, Aaron Egan. Can't take your eyes off it here in Ballynahinch Park. There's space here on the outside. They're back inside in the 22 again with Trinity, and they elect to go around the corner. Ronan Quinn with dancing footwork there. Jack Carney. The Trinity pack working very hard here to try and get a foothold, but so far Ballynahinch have stood up. Another ferocious hit from Matty Ray of Hinch. Walsh at 9. Feeds to Nicholson. Trinity just biding their time here, but so far Hinch have answered the question. Egan steps on the inside, well met by Tom Martin in the Hinch second row. And a fantastic defensive set there from Ballynahinch sees them surviving this occasion, Stuart.
I think you need a cup of tea after that. 3 minute play. Can we take it back to Dan Barron? How good that break was. He's only back from a hand injury. Comes from the St Michael alumni. St Michael, you know what a school that is for rugby. But we saw the break there. The intent. He's only 19, but Hinch coming out on top defensively, so well set. Even though Best, got charged down, but they stood firm, saved green, and won that penalty.
We've seen the two breaks from both the back rows of Trinity, Dan Barron and Felix Campbell. They've come from pillar or post, most defensive systems right next to the ruck, and we've seen Byron come through, probably the first defender off the back. Something maybe Trinity have identified, but as you've rightly pointed out, Stuart, that Ballynahinch's scramble defence has been very, very impressive. Yeah,
I suppose people are watching so many videos during the week, doing so much analysis. That probably is something Tony Smead did mention. They do part like the Red Sea, so away they go. But they scramble so well in this opening, 20 minutes from Ballynahinch. Every man for a man looks to help each other out, and if one guy misses a tackle, the next one seems to be there.
Intriguing encounter here in Ballynahinch Park, as we said. 5 points to 3 after 23 minutes. I'm convinced, Stuart, the tries will come, but so far it's been an intriguing encounter as Greg Hutley drills that one into touch.
Nearly hit us up here, This has been specially built for you, Dara, so don't want any balls hitting it, Could be in trouble. It'd be health and safety insurance.
I believe the Magic Eduardo is going to use this for weekends, bit of a timeshare. Hinch electing again to go for a 5+1. Sanderson gives the call to Hanlon. Izichukwu climbs highest. Trinity elect to go in the air, and their defence might struggle as a result here, and Hinch call in the reinforcements as they move the maul. Sanderson grimacing. Best on the ball, moves it outside, and Hutley is on the move here with Ethan Graham. Ball is in flat, and it's Fergus Gemfrey on the outside. The high flyer on the way. He's on the move. He steps on the inside here again. Hinch make a line break. Hanlon offers himself, but it's Pringle, first carrier. Ballynahinch forward, stacking up on the outside. McCall to Matty Ray. Hinch have options on the right hand side, but they elect to go open. Sanderson again. Hinch devastating on the right hand side with that attack. Trinity doing well to scramble in defence. Hanlon serves himself up, but it's Best on the way out the back. No number on his back. Utley again. Lovely little flat line, and he's going to stroll over for Ballynahinch's second try. Bradley Lunny. And that's some fantastic rugby from Ballynahinch, Stuart McAvoy.
Yeah, it all came from Gemfrey, R7s. And what about the electric wheels getting on the outside? I thought he was going to go all the way, but then the recycling ball was good. They got back into their structure. And then the big number 8, Looney, got on the end of it, broke the line, and it was too easy in the end, but it was so well worked.
Greg Hutley has quickly become a name that we're getting used to here in Ballymacarn Park. Great identification of space. Hinch perhaps lulling Trinity into a false sense of security, alluding to the fact that they might go for a little box kick there. The wingers get a little bit narrow, and as you said, Gemfrey goes down the wing, and the rest is history.
Yeah, man of many talents, Gemfrey, qualified history teacher. I was in LA last week playing in the 7s, so I'd say it's slightly colder here, but certainly didn't stop his spindle fibres from moving.
Utley on the 15, taking his time. Trinity having a word underneath the post. Good strike from Utley, but just tailed off to the right hand side, and that leaves the score 10 points to 3. Trinity will be disappointed not to score a try, but at the same time they're still within a score of Ballynahinch.
They are, but you picked on it or up on it before kick-off. They've had a slow start. You know, they had it last week. It's only a score, but you would like to think that if they are to stay in this game, they will need to score next.
Egan goes long. Izuchukwu picks it up just outside the 22 and charges forward. Hinch set up again to Hanlon. They look to go at the back. Hinch trying to get into the groove now. Lovely little line from Best. Hangs up well. Try scorer Lunny stretches the legs. He's got Cairns outside him. Cairns is on the move. He's got Graham on his inside. If he elects to use him, he's going to go. And coast to coast, Hinch go. And Graham is going to touch down for Hinch's third try. What a passage of play, Stuart McAvoy.
Who didn't touch the ball? How good was that? I don't know if words can sum that up, but what about the no look from Looney to his winger, and then back end to Ethan Graham? Clean pair of heels, but forwards and backs combining perfectly. And Hinch at the moment running right there.
Hinch's blend of physicality and expansive rugby. Not a sentence that you would normally have used with Ballynahinch in the last 12 months, but as we said, with the introduction of Mark Best, with Pringle, and particularly with Hutley orchestrating, they seem irresistible at the moment. Also
shows what we know. We thought Trinity would be doing this, running from everywhere. And Ballynahinch, maybe it's just, the cameras are here and they fancy running amok, and it was really well worked. And I suppose that comes from the coach, Adam Craig, filtering down. If there's space there, go and attack it.
Trinity calling in the reinforcements early. Deirdre McCormack and Ciúin Doyle come in. Remember, rolling substitutions in the Energia All-Ireland League. Trinity really do need to get the next score, Stuart.
Yeah, 60 seconds ago I said they had to get the one before that. Didn't happen, but could really go away for them here. But full credit to Ballynahinch. The efficiency's been really good. They haven't had too many errors, have they?
Indeed they haven't. And Hutley, the star of the show so far here in Ballymacarn Park, 17 points to 3 after 28 minutes, and Mark Best punts it downfield with Colm Hogan, so good with the ball in hand, says he'll have a run. Met by Best and Martin of Ballynahinch, and it's the new man, Ciúin Doyle, on the carry. And Izuchukwu and Sanderson elect the judge to have gone high, and Trinity say, let's go through Ted Walsh. Not quite the team you want to play open rugby against, as Egan hits the other replacement, Deirdre McCormack. Hinch elect to go to the same side. Egan again, lovely little flat pass. Hinch defence standing firm as it has done in this opening half hour. Barron hit very, very hard. That Trinity back row have got through a lot of work. McCormack again with a good carry, 5 metres in from the touchline on the left hand side. Campbell. Egan. Thomas Connolly again. There isn't a zip to Trinity's play just yet. And Egan elects a lovely little kick in behind. And the touch judge is on the move.
Yeah, nothing was really on there, so he looked for a corner and got it, but we saw Dermot McCormick coming on, former Clongo's man. He's obviously been told, get in there and get stuck in, start carrying ball. That's what they needed, a bit of parity. And he tried to show that.
Players take a little breather here. As Sanderson moseys on over to Josh Hanlon. Hinch with a 4+1 line out here. Lunny, great dart from Hanlon. Lunny to the fore of everything good. And it's a super kick from Chris Gibson there. Textbook exit from Hinch there. Stuart and Ballynahinch have been faultless in this opening half an hour.
Yeah, I'll give Gibson a wee bit more credit than that there. It was a smashing clearing of the lines, off the left foot. And his dad and brother heavily involved in the club. Connor playing for the twos today at 9, so wonder what they talk about at Christmas dinner.
Hinch organised the line-out defence here as Trinity. Lovely little flat ball. Taken well by Carney and Byron. Lovely little flat line from inside centre there, Gavin Jones. Trinity have done very, very well after those starter plays. They've won about 20 metres there off first phase. McCormick again. Carries well. Cut down by Maddie Ray. Egan. Lovely little two steps in Colm Hogan, slicing off that right foot, almost finding a half gap. Trinity slowly but surely eking forward there. Felix Campbell, the hard yards. Egan hits McCormick, and McCormick is absolutely levelled by two of Hinch's players. Walsh, no room there for Trinity as they elect to go back on the inside, finding it hard to penetrate this Ballynahinch defence as they go. McDonough has done well though, and they're just outside the 22 on the right hand side. Hinch with a full line here. Barron just trying to time his run there, but again another big hit there, and you can hear that from the Hinch supporters. Gavin Jones, the Hinch players trying to outdo each other in terms of tackles, and Hogan hit very, very hard but gets an offload here. Cian Doyle, looks like a little knock on, and it will be, and Trinity trying their hardest at the moment, Stuart McAvoy, but Hinch's defence very, very impressive.
Yeah, the two-man tackles, you can hear from up here, you know, how loud it is, but they seem to be getting man and ball every time. It's quite nice in the eye from Trinity what they're trying to do, but it might be a wee bit too flat. Sort of across the park, you can see what Egan is trying to create space, but also Hogan, he's just watching and scanning at the ruck, but every time he just can't quite get away.
Indeed, George Sanderson getting a little bit of attention. Aaron Egan has more than a bit about him, as they say. Stuart McAvoy, lovely little flat passes to the line. Has had one or two darts himself, but it's going to take a lot to unlock this Ballynahinch defence.
Yeah, and we've seen they're building up to sort of 8, 9, 10 phases, but Hinch seem to have their number at the moment. They just seem to be getting across the pitch very well in twos or threes, and then, as I've said, closer to the ruck time, there's no holes there.
3 clean line breaks by my count through. Gavin Jones, Felix Campbell and Dan Barron for Trinity seem to be catching them off either first, second or third phase, so Trinity more than have it in them to get that smash and grab line break. It's just whether or not they can convert those chances, and without tempting fate, with about 32 minutes on the clock, 17-3, they really do need to get the next score here, Stuart, and let's not forget the subplot of top 4. We will have the results of Young Munster and Lansdowne come through to us very shortly, as UCD and Terranure has a bearing on this game here, but at the moment Hinch firmly in the driving seat.
Yeah, the old Wi-Fi isn't quick enough to predict the results at half 2. But yeah, of course, like, first time ever, if Hinch could finish the season strong and get into the top 4, how big an achievement would that be? Long way to go though.
As we restart Gibson with the feed. The Hinch scrum has been very solid on their ball. They elect to have a second go. Hutley hits Best. Great width in their attack there, and Best moving the ball, but Hogan covers the ground very, very well. Puts on the footwork, steps inside, but Cairns and Graham, two of the back three, marshalling well. Egan hits Doyle. The two replacements, Doyle and McCormack, have gone very, very well. Hinch a little bit isolated, and the ball is turned over by Captain McCall. Lovely little show and go from the open side. Hinch are on here on the left hand side if they like to go, and they go at the back of Lunny as they go. Hutley to Best, narrow space. Cairns goes very well to Graham. Graham in a very similar position, puts on the steps. Hogan brings him down, ably assisted by McDonough. McDonough with clear release, and what a turnover that is for the Trinity side. The flag doesn't go up, and Peter Martin says penalty to Trinity. McDonough doing extremely well there, but Hinch at will cutting Trinity open, Stuart.
Yeah, they're working the short side so well. So great offload. Cairns just getting away and putting his other winger into space, but Trinity scrambling in this case. They're the ones to actually get back, but they are getting round the corner and doing it very well, but all came from that isolation there from Trinity going off themselves, and then the turnover from Hinch.
We'll bring you some results from Division 2A of the Energia All-Ireland League. Blackrock College 27, Queen's University 28. A massive win for Queen's on the road in Stradbrook. Barnhall were 21 points to 17 winners over Cashel and Parsonstown. Crescent with a 1 point win over Navan and Ballynahinch 22-21. Nina Ormond 34, Ballymena 24, and UL Bows 27, Dolphin 24. That's Division 2A of the Energia All-Ireland League. Some cracking games there, and as we said, we will bring you results throughout the afternoon, but for now it is 17 points to 3 in Ballymacarn Park as Mark Nicholson readies himself to throw the ball in uncontested. Carney rises high in the air, and Trinity motor on. A little bit of an injection from the college side as they march Hinch back. Peter Martin says one stop. The ball is in the hands of Mark Nicholson. Aaron Egan wants the ball from Walsh, and he gets it. Reardon goes on the outside. McDonough runs the decoy line. Reardon going very, very well. Trinity sparking into life here in Ballymacarn Park. And Ballynahinch hands in the cookie jar at the ruck. And Trinity, just like that, Stuart, as we said, they have the ability to cut you open at will, much like Hinch have done here.
Yeah, I've been really impressed actually by both centre pairings there, with Best and Pringle, but also Jones and McDonough. They've both done to each other what the other team's doing. The 12's setting away the 13, or the 12 goes himself, and in that case, Gavin Jones pinned the ears back and picked a good line, but the service from Aaron Egan there was out in front and just really setting his inside centre away.
He's got really crisp delivery. Both Hutley and Egan have been notable in unlocking both backlines, so it's going to be a tremendous battle all afternoon. Trinity now, third visit to the 22, had a line out on the other side of the pitch about 10 or 15 minutes ago and were stopped just short. Campbell dropping the ball as they were going over the line, but the line out is taken by Dan Barron, and Trinity look to rumble forward, and they've gotten a good set. The body height is excellent from Trinity on this side as they roll around to the left hand side. The cries of patience come from the Trinity bench, but it looks like Hinch have turned them over on that side, and they have. Cheers on the right hand side there from the Ballynahinch faithful. About 16 metres in from the touchline. Hutley calmly looking after Gibson. Gives him the duties. And Hutley with his right boot. Hasn't found touch at the moment. A hell of a boot there. But he has the touch judge very, very slow to come in, and that side hasn't really been called to work much, but a great exit there from Ballynahinch. But Trinity will be kicking themselves another fantastic position and no points to show for it.
Yeah, and they're the chances they need to take to say the obvious, but can't quite see from here, Dar, but I think Ezechukwu earned his corn there. Whatever he did at that maul, he was last up, so I'm going to give him the credit, but he must have been in there, against all that pack against Trinity and just picking his moment and coming out with him top with the ball.
Trinity making their mark in the game, but only have 3 points on the scoreboard to show for it thus far. Egan in midfield. Byron again, some fantastic running lines from the Trinity team. I've seen them get through line breaks, and Ted Walsh finds Colm Hogan on the inside, perhaps not quite the angle Hogan would have wanted to get the ball, and Izuchukwu makes yet another tackle. Trinity just inside their own half, electing to keep the ball in hand. Good carry there by Connolly. The tight head, Egan, little dink over the top. Where's the ball going to bounce? Izuchukwu does very, very well to just shatter that space, takes the ball and says, I'm off on a run. McDonough and Barron get to grips with him and put him to ground, and Gibson has Sanderson outside. Sanderson with a little unders carry, but he's met very well by Jerry Kerr. They've had a hell of a battle in the set piece and in the open, and Mark Best finds a soft shoulder on the inside but finds a little tap tackle. Felix Campbell goes for a little furrow, doesn't get it. Izuchukwu tucks the ball, decides to go. Little bit of miscommunication there, and Trinity have the ball and they'll have a scrum advantage. They fight to get to ground. Byron points in behind, only one man in the backfield as Graham is there, but they elect to go. McCormack with a very, very good carry again. As we said, has had a very good impact with the ball in hand, and Peter Martin says no advantage. We'll come back for a scrum.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many mistakes from Hinch that time. Just after the carry of Best, sort of a wee bit of confusion there at the base, but we see where Mark Best is good. Didn't decide to go out the back and then cut, but he always seems to get over the gain line as well.
One of those players, Stuart, we few and far between, but he seems to have more time on the ball regardless of where the defence are, and Best finding an inside shoulder there. Trinity, a bit of an anomaly at the moment, Stuart. Do you think that obviously they're carrying very, very hard through there and they're getting spaces, but they need to start taking those chances? I know we keep repeating that, but for the time on the clock and with 17-3, they really do need to get the next score, and for the possession that they've had and the places they've been, they won't be happy with just 3 points. Yeah,
and the longer it goes on, the more the frustration kicks in, and yeah, we obviously don't have the possession stats right in front of us, but they've had the lion's share of the ball. But hence at the moment they're grinning because they seem to have Trinity's attack in their back pocket. But things can change very quickly, as we mentioned.
Indeed. In Division 1A of the Energia All-Ireland League, Cork Constitution were 29 points to 21 winners over Garryowen. Young Munsters winning 15 points to 10 in Lansdowne. News of that will have filtered through to Ballynahinch. Clontarf with 33 points to 3 winners over Shannon to remain top of the pile, and Terranure College with 32 points to 10 winners over UCD in the Belfield Bowl. We will have full match reaction at the end of this game. Currently 17 points to 3 here as Trinity just inside the Ballynahinch half have a scrum, and Ted Walsh feeds Hinch, putting serious pressure on the scrum. Byrne on the inside, lovely flat pass to Egan. The ball is touched, and Trinity scrappily at half time, fine touch, and it's 17 points to 3. Stuart McAvoy, it hasn't lit up, but at the same time it's been an intriguing encounter, and at the moment Hinch in full control.
Yeah, it's a bit like in here, a bit cold, but no, great to be here. Yes, Hinch in control at the moment. Hasn't quite lit up. You'd think Trinity would be better in the second half. You can see the combinations they're trying to do, but it's not just quite clicking for them. As for Hinch, you can see their Cal McCall giving out early instructions, but really defensively they've been so sound that Trinity are going to find them very difficult to break down.
I'm going to put you in the difficult situation and ask to say what message Tony Smead will be giving to Trinity there. It's cliched, but is it fair to say take the chances where they are and they can have no complaints if they don't?
Yeah, what will he be saying there? I'd say I'd be pretty disappointed because they have had their chances, particularly down far side of the pitch. Should have scored off the driving maul, and then what did you say? They had 3 or 4 line breaks.
Yeah, Campbell, Barron, McDonough clean through on 3 occasions. Yep. Yeah,
so is it there for the taking? Yeah, I suppose in the first half, yeah, they should have more points on the board, but they don't. And yeah, it's a long way back, but they'll want to put in a big 40 minutes, particularly 4 months a long time. They want to get off this rut.
Season-defining second half potentially to come from Trinity, as we said. The Division 1A results that have just been fed into us from studio in Limerick. Cork Constitution were 29 points to 21 winners over the already relegated Garryowen and Dúrdoyle in Limerick. Young Munsters with a big win on the road, 15 points to 10 against Lansdowne and the Aviva Stadium back pitch. That win does mean the Young Munsters will stay in fourth, which means a Ballynahinch win here or a Trinity win will mean they will just about keep it in touching distance. But as I said, stay with us for the broadcast. We will have full live tables towards the end. Clontarf will stay top of the pile, a 33 points to 3 win over Shannon in Thomond Park means Shannon will stay in that relegation playoff place in ninth and will be within touching distance of UCD, who are beaten 32 points to 10 by Terranure College in Belfield. Stuart, we spoke about not taking your eye off the ball in Division 1A of the Energia All-Ireland League, with Young Munsters getting a big win over Lansdowne there, 15 points to 10, and they are in the driving seat for fourth, much to the demise of the Ballynahinch faithful here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a few people in that clubhouse chucking a few things at the screen or the Young Munster Twitter feed. But yes, a crucial win for them. The back pitch, the Aviva, destiny is in their hands. A couple of games left, and Ballynahinch or Trinity, as you say, whoever wins, they still have it all to do, and they may have to go on beating the rest of the season. One of them, if they want a Young Munster.
3 rounds to go after today. Let's move the focus to Lansdowne and UCD and Shannon in that dogfight there. As we said, we will have an updated table for you before the end of the broadcast, but UCD's defeat, Shannon's defeat and Lansdowne's defeat, Lansdowne picking up a losing bonus point, but UCD and Shannon coming away empty-handed. So it is a massive day in the context of the bottom of the table. Lansdowne losing by 5 points, but as we said, picking up that losing bonus point, and this is going to go right to the wire towards the end of the season, Stuart.
Yeah, it is. It's so close down there as well. Before this game it was also tightly compact, and it looks like it's getting even more cohesive in there. Interesting, Shannon struggling there against Clontarf, obviously top of the league, so very difficult day for them. But Lansdowne losing bonus point, could that be crucial? And then UCD, they obviously turned a bit of a tide, but against Terranure College, they're back at it and really firing again. Maurice
Hartree said on the Club Scene podcast 2 weeks ago that Terranure looked a little bit leggy, that they played a lot of rugby, and since then they were 43-0 up at half time against Lansdowne to win 43-24 and win 32-10 on the road. So you can thank Maurice Hartree for that. In Division 2C of the Energia All-Ireland League, Bruff were 2-point winners, 15 points to 13 over Bangor in Kilballyowen Park. Skerries were 18 points to 10 winners over Clonmel on the road in Ardguia. Instonians, as we said, 15 try bonus points in a row, 56 points to 7 against Ballynahinch. Shaw's Bridge means Instonians will play their rugby in Division 2B of the Energia All-Ireland League. Well done to all those in Shaw's Bridge. Undoubtedly there will be celebrations tonight, but no doubt they will also want to go for the perfect season. Middleton were 24 points to 17 winners over Tullamore in Towns Park, which is a massive win, which means Skerries do move into second place and ultimately at the moment are in that driving seat for the home semi-final. And Sunday as well with a massive 49 points to 15 win over the Oma Academicals at the bottom of Division 2C. Stuart, much like Division 1A, 2C is going to go to the end, but just a word on Instonians. I think it was seven seasons that they had in junior rugby where they did manage to get back to senior, but they've gone not only to 2C but winning 2C in the form they've gone to 2B.
Dara, I've never said as many nice words about RBAI or Instonians in my life, and would you stop it? They must be paying you. But yes, incredible, and yeah, plenty of pints will be drunk, but what a win for Sunday as well. That's 49 points to Oma. They still believe they can stay in this league.
To my maths, Sunday as well, we're averaging about 11.5 points a game over the course of the first 14 games. So to score 49, they had a Harry Houdini / Harry Redknapp escape in the league last season from 2C, and the escape might be on there. As I said, we will bring you results and tables plus feedback from all games across the Energia All-Ireland League. But for now, at the start of the second half, Ballynahinch leads 17 points to 3 against Trinity. And with Young Munster's win against Lansdowne in the capital, whichever team wins here will keep the heat on, and it could be curtains for the loser. Egan finds a fantastic touch.
Yeah, I think the wind, whatever it is just changed, and Trinity will have it in the second half, maybe so slightly, but that was a bit of a rocket launcher with a boot.
Noticeably, Stuart, if you're Hinch here, tempo doesn't really matter at the start of the second half. You just try and take the sting out of any potential injection of pace from Trinity. Yeah,
I would say Adam Craig, of course, doing a great job here, and at Sullivan, but we'll say more of the same, please, guys. Most facets they've not dominated, but been on top. So why would you change anything that's different?
Little bit of miscommunication call-wise there. Mislift for Hinch, and you can see Trinity there, all players gesticulating, I think, to say let's up the ante here, let's get a score. And 17-3, bit of a mountain to climb, but if Trinity were to get that next score, it would raise a few eyebrows here, Stuart.
Yeah, talked about it earlier, next try, but really what to get back to 17 points to 10. Be a few nerves coming into Ballynahinch, his team. So yeah, if the visitors were to get it, certainly would be right back in the hunt. Interesting how they're set up here, Dara, all stacked on this open side.
Jones and McDonough with a lovely little scissors shift movement early doors, got outside Mark Best and George Pringle, but Trinity will be going channel 1 in this scrum as they do. Well managed at the tail by Ruan Byron. Egan takes it right to the line, lovely little carry there by Quinn, but there's just a little bit of movement on the ground there, and Trinity again in a promising position. Stuart cough up possession, and Hinch will go down the field here and repel them.
Yeah, we know how good Ronan Quinn, the pocket rocket, has been for Trinity, but there it was all quite narrow and tight, and once he got tackled they were straight over the ball. Another member of this Trinity side, of course, with the Irish Universities, Quinn.
Former Glenstall Abbey man in Limerick.
One of a number, I should say, from Glenstall. Producing plenty of talent, Dara, as you well know.
Good connection between Glenstall and Trinity. Similar dress sense, funnily enough. Josh Hanlon gets ready. Lunny, nice little dummy there. Lunny has been imperious in the air, and as I say that, the commentator's curse just manages to dribble the ball back, but it's cleaned up by Chris Gibson, who won't thank his number 8 for that. McCall met very well there. Nicholson of Trinity got low, got the wrap in as well. Is it Chukwu met by Campbell there, but gets gain line. Saunderson again, the big man goes in a carry. He's had quite the battle. Thomas Connolly, as we said. Gemfrey does very, very well, used to the touchline and just about stays in. Martin with a lovely little tip on to Lunny at 8, but the ball gets spilled out and Connolly is on the move there. Hutley not afraid to mix it with the big boys, drops a shoulder, brings Connolly down. Hogan just inside his half, looking for the 50-22 here, doesn't get the bounce, but the bounce on the inside of Graham, and Quinn millimetres away. Gas from the Trinity crowd down to our left hand side, and the game heating up here as Egan has the ball, steps inside, steps outside, but well marshalled by Graham. Gemfrey with a lovely little tackle as well, manages to dislodge the ball, and Peter Martin has a knock-on advantage. Lunny has Graham and Hanlon to clear out, and Gibson again. McCall, eyes lit up there, looked like he had space, coughs up the ball, and Peter Martin says we'll come back for the knock-on here. And the temperature rising just ever so slightly, Stuart.
Yeah, I thought there was a bit of temperature there from Cal McCall. I thought he was going for a 40-metre dash. You don't get over 50 caps for Ulster for nothing. But yeah, we just going back a couple of phases, saw the bounce of the ball, but Ethan Graham, he had to be alert, and he certainly was, because Ronan Quinn breathing down his neck and had about a split second, and the Ballynahinch fullback was spot on.
Rest assured, Tony Smead and co have told the Trinity side work towards 3, 5 or 7, and that could have been the score that gets them back in the game. But as you said, McCall, there's a man who's really enjoying his rugby. I think he might be thankful that we're coming back from a scrum that he didn't have to gallop 40 metres.
Yeah, we saw a bit of a tactic towards the end of the first half from Egan, putting something in behind and a bit of a dink, and Hogan also did that as well, so maybe they have spotted something in this back three from Ballynahinch.
McCall, Sanderson and Hanlon listen attentively to Peter Martin, as Thomas Connolly, Jerry Kerr and Mark Nicholson do as well. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full, I think was the response from both front rows there.
Bit like yourself, Darrell, always a good listener at scrum time, I would suggest.
Can't hear anything in the second row, Stuart, I've always said it. 5.5 minutes gone in the beautiful spring air here in Ballymacarn Park, and Ballynahinch lead 17 points to 3. As we said, Young Munster's win means Ballynahinch need to take maximum points here, and they are going very, very well about trying to get that 4th try as the scrum ekes forward and Mark Best takes the ball, and they will go down the line here, Stuart.
We talked about Cal McCall with ball in hand. There he was back to the day job. And the grin was the size of Ballymacarn Park there, wasn't it, from his face? He was happy with that.
Trinity having a discussion amongst themselves based on defence. Ballynahinch first entry to the 22 in this second half. A little bit of a lull around Ballymacarn Park. Big play needed here from Ballynahinch. Zach Baird enters the fray for Trinity. Mark Nicholson comes off, has done well, the Dublin University hooker. Hanlon goes, but just comes off the left hand of Martin. And Trinity have the ball in the 22. A rare error from Hinch in the 22, and Egan's kick won't find touch. Well fielded by Gemfrey. Getting inside. Graham, his 15 teammate, bouncing him along. Ball goes outside the back of McCall. Josh Hanlon on the move there. Matty Ray tries to keep him in, but Trinity's drift defence, they double up and they manage to get Hanlon into touch there.
Yeah, it was actually their scrum half. How well did he do, Ted Walsh? Slight boy, but tough as teak there, and Hinch probably in that case maybe running down a blind alley.
Conor McKee, James Simpson enter the fray for Ballynahinch. Simpson, a big man, number 18. It's the replacement. Baird does well, hits his man, but it's not a clean delivery, and Walsh hits Byron. Byron's been very impressive in the back row for Trinity with ball in hand. Egan this time kicks over the top of the ball, but Gemfrey does well, controls it with the right foot, has Graham on his inside. Graham's going to go on a little run just inside the half there, well marshalled by Dan Barron of Trinity, and Hinch are going to snap back on this side. Hutley orchestrating proceedings. Sanderson again with a lovely carry. Really good footwork from the big man. Hutley again, it's got Hannon on the outside, but Hutley says let's go, and a lovely little kick there. He was just inside the Trinity half, so Trinity will have a line out, but really good game management there from Ballynahinch.
Yeah, great from Hutley there. Of course, Sullivan upper as well. Played a bit of rugby in Australia in the Shoot Sailed, so played at a very high level, and you can see what he brings to this team. He marshals them. Both tens actually, I had to say they obviously are so key, but they actually have both used this right hand touch, Dara, for kicking for territory.
It certainly didn't bring the climate back from him with Australia. Trinity on the move, do very well. Kuhn Doyle with a good take, good variation at the line out for Trinity. And they have gotten a little bit of change out of the Ballynahinch maul, but it looks like Hinch have set that as it moves in field now. Ted Walsh elects, takes the ball. Gavin Jones, good carry, but he's met very, very well by a number of Hinch men. Mark Best looking to get a turnover there, and looks like Trinity are going to play from here. Egan, lovely little 1-2 step, but he's hit very hard by Lunny. Referee Martin says there was a wrap in the tackle. Trinity again inside their 22. Need to look after the ball here. It's a good carry again by McCormack. Ball is stripped though. Martin has his hands out for a scrum. Advantage to Trinity. Trinity again. Colm Hogan trying to forge something from nothing, as Trinity have so often done. Izuchukwu again winning that battle, and Egan has the ball in his hand. No chase line, a little bit of time. Right footed, isn't going to find touch, and it's Graham who's covered a lot of ground for Hinch. puts it up and under, and it's loose, and Colm Hogan is going to have an opportunity here. He's got Ronan Quinn on the outside, but he elects to kick it and won't get a bounce on that, and a rare error from Colm Hogan just when the space looked like it was opening up.
Yeah, you don't see too many errors from him, but I think it's credit to Ballynahinch. You know, Hogan's tried and tried, but we've yet to see him really break the line, and that's obviously what the Hinch coaching staff have done all week. They've realised how important he is to this Trinity team, and they've stopped him.
Hugely physical, 15 metres either side of both rucks, with players and a lot of changes early doors, but Hinch firmly in control here.
You mentioned changes there, Zach Baird, obviously Ryan's brother. I know Tony Smeeth really rates him, just missed out on the under-20s in the Six Nations, but who knows, there's a World Cup down the line.
Yeah.
Real dynamic, and seems to be another one of those young guys that has a big future.
One of the Tony Smeeth Academy players, I think people like to call him.
Can you let me know how long that list is?
Louis McDonough having a conversation with Peter Martin here as several players receive attention. 17 points to 3 the score here. Ballynahinch 3 tries, scintillating rugby in the first half. Trinity's penalty coming early doors from Aaron Egan. Plenty of field position for Trinity, but just no tries to show for it as of yet. Hanlon has the ball in hand. Izuchukwu takes very well. Good delivery to the replacement, Conor McKee. And it's a good carry. We said Simpson was a big man. He's using that size. Hanlon, nice little inside, but it's well read. Graham throws it to McKee again, like all good nines, tracking in the outside of McKee, going, falls to the ground, but has he gotten over the line? He has. And Ballynahinch secured a bonus point here in Ballymacarn Park. What a play, Stuart McAvoy from Ballynahinch.
Yeah, Conor McKee coming on, doing exactly what they would have asked for in the Ulster Academy, but injecting pace. And then the positive lines coming back on the shoulder. Skill set's very good. And there you go. Great score from the home side.
Trinity looked just to have read that lovely little inside ball. I think it was a Joe Schmidt play. Josh Hanlon, the decoy, taking the ball to hit Graham on the inside, but Graham's power stepping off that left foot managed to get an offload to McKee, who was tapped but just about got over the line, and that does secure the bonus point for Ballynahinch. A little bit of soul searching, Stuart, for Trinity underneath the post at the moment, but Hinch full value for the bonus point try.
Yeah, they are full value. You know, they've come with a game plan, they've stuck to it. It's been really, really good. As for the side behind the post, Trinity, they look pretty dejected there, Darragh. And you can't blame them, you know, as they've given their heart. There's plenty of time left as that conversion goes straight through. They've gave everything, the execution hasn't been there, and at the moment they're coming off the worst. Great
strike from Hutley there, drew it in very, very well. I've been in the position Trinity have been in on this pitch, Stuart. It's not a nice place to be in, but game not a million miles away from them, but they certainly do need to get the next score, and Ballynahinch will be in no mood to let up, particularly as we said with the news of Young Munster's win in the Aviva. Izuchukwu carries well again. Kuhn Doyle has been impressive for Trinity since coming in early doors in the first half. McKee, the try scorer, right-footed, sends that on to the pitch behind us. And Trinity again will having an attacking opportunity here. The game has gone into a small bit of a lull, Stuart, but in terms of Hinch, if they do want to get into the top four, they are going to have to put the foot on the throat here.
Yeah, they'll want to get more tries, of course, especially with the big clubhouse and the fans in there, and also the momentum for the last 3 games of the season. We've seen how good the strength and depth is with the likes of McKee coming off the bench.
Baird hits Doyle. Trinity hit up in midfield. They look to go around again. Hogan has ball in hand, steps on the outside, dinks it in behind. It's going to be a foot race here. Egan goes, but the ball does land into touch. Decent play from Trinity.
Yeah, and it was there. Colbert's on. They pushed Egan into the outside channels. Hogan obviously still on, but Harry Colbert, I know he's highly rated as well, injured last year, so good to see him back. And we saw he also likes a 10, likes to play flat, as we saw in that instance.
Number 21 there in your screen, as we said, Harry Colbert introduced to play. Josh Hanlon with the ball in hand. Trinity going for a 4-man line out. Lunny, great take in the air again. Been very good this afternoon as Brad Lunny. Simpson tries to carry. Made that break, so there was extra eyes on him from the Trinity defence. Trinity working hard here not to give Hinch a good exit. McKee finds Hutley. And that's a lovely little strike into the wind, really drills through the ball from under it, and Trinity will have a line out just outside the 22. But Ballynahinch's basics, Stuart, have been very, very good this afternoon.
Yeah, and all coming from that man Hutley. You know, the forwards are looking up there with a massive smile on their face. He's made 30-40 metres in a bit of a tricky wind.
Trinity with a 5-man line out, goes straight to the tail, taken by McCormack. Scrappy ball, but they're off the back. Colbert hits up Jones. They like that midfield hit to Trinity. Colbert, Egan, the playmaker in the first half, asked to carry in the second. Good little carry, looking for Quinn. He's got Quinn on the outside, and Quinn is going to go. And just like that, Trinity with a lovely little play there, Stuart, and Ronan Quinn, the speedster, gets in the corner.
Yeah, it was that man that came off the bench in the first half, McCormack. We dink himself through the gap, and then great offload to the winger. Tell you what, once he gets away, he's going to get under the sticks.
Great finish from Quinn. For Trinity, they needed to get that score. Egan with a difficult conversion here on the touchline, but if there's any team who want to get into a game of sevens and throw the ball around, it's going to be Trinity. So Hinch will try and look after the nuts and bolts and tighten it up.
Yeah, they love a second half charge, don't they? Did it last week against Clontarf. Never say die attitude, so full credit to them.
Egan from way out left here, half a metre in from the touchline. Right footed. Strikes it well, but it's fading off to the right, and the score after 18 minutes here in the second half, Ballynahinch, a bonus point try, 24 points to Trinity's 8.
Haven't seen too much of the Chesn Colby of Trinity. We saw him there, Darragh.
Indeed we did, but really enjoying their rugby. The forwards have foraged, worked really hard. The introduction of McCormack and Doyle have really worked well for Trinity. It's a big 20 minutes in the context of their season. Hinch taking their time to get to the half. Hutley, high hanging kick, well taken by Trinity. Dan Barron, Colm Hogan, you get the sense here that Trinity are going to have a real go. Ruan Byron, Walsh, Colbert left footed, goes. Hutley takes control. Little shooter from Jones, forces Cairns on the way in back, and he gets over the halfway line for Hinch. McKee, Hutley again swinging right around. Izuchukwu offers himself, and he's on a gallop here, and Izuchukwu is brought down well by Campbell, but a lovely little offload to McKee, who's popping up again, and he's got Graham on his outside. It's a foot race with Quinn, and Graham is going to go, and Graham is going to score, and it's Hinch's 5th try in Ballymacarn Park, and it's a case of anything Trinity can do, we can do better, Stuart McAvoy.
Yeah, we asked for tries, and we're certainly getting it. Tell you what, Conor McKee, he's made a massive difference, hasn't he?
McKee has been really, really good since he came on. Gibson had an excellent 40 plus minutes, but since the introduction of McKee, he's just popped up in those areas like all good nines, tracking upfield, staying on the inside for those passes, and he's been key in that assist, and he's also got one himself.
Yeah, and the towering figure, Izuchukwu, just walks over the halfway line. Pretty pleased with himself and the abrasiveness through the contact, and then the wherewithal to get the ball away.
Izuchukwu, Man Mountain, as we said. A big, big performance for Ulster in the Shark Tank last week. Picking up where he left off in Ballymacarn this week. Greg Hutley. Strikes it very, very well again, does Hutley. He's been very impressive from the boot and draws that one in from left to right. And Hutley is in the groove, and Ballynahinch firmly in control here in Ballymacarn Park as we enter the final quarter. Ballynahinch 30, Trinity 8.
Hutley with a real spring in his step, doesn't he?
A joy to watch so far, Stuart. Colm Hogan will leave proceedings. Liam McMahon reintroduced and will go to full back. Egan restarts. He's a Chukwu. Cries of go easy from our right hand side. Nacho Cladera, the man on the ball, has been introduced. Good early carry. McKee, Hutley perhaps calling for the ball, but McKee puts it high and hanging into the sky, and it's well fielded by Liam McMahon. Good reintroduction to the game for the winger, now in at 15. Ted Walsh looking for forwards. McCall doing just enough to slow the ball. Colbert, lovely little flat pass to Barron. Hinch trying to double up on those tackles. And Felix Campbell in a very similar position to the first half makes a lovely little break at pillar. Peter Martin has his hand out, and Trinity will have a player, there's no doubt about that. Colbert swings the ball out there to Louis McDonough outside centre. Aaron Egan trying to orchestrate his midfield to get in behind. Again, a second receiver. It's a good carry from Trinity, 15 metres in. Thomas Connolly met very, very well by the Hinch defence. Colbert looked lively since he's come on. Egan goes out the back, doesn't quite find a hand, but it's Ronan Quinn gets it. Steps in a phone box, does Quinn. Trinity at every opportunity looking for offloads, and McCormack carries very, very well and finds the replacement, Zach Baird. Walsh. McKee again shoots off the line for Hinch. Jerry Kerr with a good carry. Walsh to McCormack. Simpson and Baird exchanging addresses on the ground as Colbert hits Byron. Hugely abrasive carrier for Trinity. Hinch managed through Izichukwu to disrupt, but it's Kuhn Doyle. Hinch again with it, and they have turned it over. It's through Brad Lunny. As Zach McCall moseys back in. Mark Best, left footed, doesn't quite catch it as well as he would have wanted to, but finds touch. Decent passage of play from both sides, and Trinity very dangerous, but ultimately Stuart, Ballynahinch holding firm.
Yeah, and you mentioned him time and time again today. We haven't really talked about Lunny. You know, I've got here, he's got a bit of X factor about him, which he does, but we've also seen nitty gritty there and gets big turnovers.
Replacements for Ballynahinch come in. Jack Milligan, Ryan Wilson. But just on your point on Brad Lunny, Stuart, one of those hybrid players, has the real physicality of a second row. He's got the skills of perhaps a centre, and he's also very, very good on both sides of the ball. So he has somebody who's gone underneath the radar, but a guy who's really, really grown over the last number of seasons and is one of the talisman for Hinch.
Yeah, and you touched on there both sides of the ball, but also in the line-out seems to be pretty vocal. But yeah, it has sort of gone under the radar elsewhere, but I think here he's very, very highly thought of. Yeah. He seems to know what he's at in this team, particularly in that pack, leading from the front. Went to Carrick Grammar and then on to Belfast Royal Academy. As you say, a second row and the back row, so the luxury of that.
Zach Baird gets the boot strapped, and Trinity with the old rush to the front. Doyle with the take. Trinity look for a rumble. Liam Nolan, he's on at 9 there, and Lunny looks to have gotten his hands on that ball there, and he has. And Ballynahinch, as we said, Stuart, looking after the basics very, very well. Trinity just really haven't been able to get any stranglehold and possession when on the ball.
Yeah, I suppose that's maybe summed up this opening hour for Trinity. Whenever they seem to get something clicking, there's a mistake. But we maybe got it right for one star. Lunny, thank goodness we bigged him up.
Preempting it, never in doubt. 15 minutes to go here in Ballymacarn Park. 31 points to 8 Ballynahinch with 5 tries Some really good rugby from the Ballynahinch Park side. They look like they will bring this top 4 challenge right the way through spring. 3 rounds to go after today.
Yeah, and a bit of revenge actually as well when the two sides met in Dublin at College Park.
Hinch with a very strong first half in College Park. Didn't score in the second half. Trinity with a bonus point win. Graham standing in. McKee again. It's been lively, lovely little bounce to draw in 1 or 2 Trinity defenders. Jones does his best. Hutley puts boot to ball, and Aaron Egan takes it in. Lovely little switch pass to Liam McMahon. He's done well in little facets of the game, has McMahon, when he's been on the ball. Ball in 2 hands from Barron, ekes out the yards. Been tireless worker all afternoon. Good carry again by Campbell. Colbert zips it in behind Walsh. McDonough. Trinity for the first time moving the ball right the way through, and Egan puts boot to ball and it lands into the hands of McKee. Difficult kick for McKee. Spiral just about gets in behind Byron. Colbert has the ball, has a little chat, and elects to go himself. Peter Martin says most likely no retreat here from the kick. He hasn't signalled just yet.
Wasn't quite the connection he wanted, but great to see an old school spiral here.
Indeed.
Especially at what, 0 degrees temperature.
Not including the wind chill.
Any chance to get the spiral in? You know how I feel about these things.
A work of art, Stuart. A work of art. Colbert receiving attention here.
You can see with so many guys on the floor, even though it is cold, the tempo's been quick, hasn't it?
Yeah. We say it every week though, Stuart, in terms of the physicality. Doesn't matter if it's the top of the table, the bottom of the table, the middle of the table. It's the encounters are ferocious, and both benches needed to full extent, even with 13-14 minutes to go.
Yeah, and also we saw benches being introduced before half time, so it shows how important they are.
Egan pokes Trinity 4 or 5 metres into the Ballynahinch 22. 12 minutes to go on the clock. It's a big mountain to climb for Trinity.
.20 state prediction sort of going out the window, Dara.
Baird. Lunny again. I'm not sure if Hinch Distillery look after man of the match, Stuart, but I think Lunny's name will certainly be in the hat.
Yeah, it'd only be fair, wouldn't it? But we'll give it a few minutes yet.
Matty Ray clearing out the ruck. McKee right-footed. Difficult enough kick to get distance on here for McKee, but organises chase line. And as the angle goes, it's a super kick from McKee, and Trinity will restart the game just inside. A difficult place to be, Stuart, for Trinity at the moment. 31 points to 8 down. It's not through want of trying, but just haven't taken their chances when they've arisen.
Yeah, I said that at half time. It certainly isn't through trying, just maybe a wee bit off the pace. And then Hinch, to be fair to them, we'll give them all the credit. They've made it work and they've been very good this afternoon.
Josh Hanlon profits from a Trinity overthrow, and McKee very, very smartly, seeing that there's nobody in the backfield, kicks very well, and that will end up as a 50-22, and McKee has been worth his weight in gold since being introduced.
Yeah, I know Queen's University were gutted to lose him, and you can see how good he is when he's gone on, especially his pace. But there, 50-22, spotted the winger was up and put a neat dink in behind.
Hinch, as we said, with the bonus point already secured here, will have gained a point on Young Munsters if the score remains the same and they go on to win the game. Nacho Cladera goes back out to give the call for a third time to Josh Hanlon, and Peter Martin tells him to go.
He's a big old boy, isn't he?
big old boy is Nacho Cladera. A crowd favourite here and a firm club favourite. Lunny takes the ball, transfers back to McCall, Hanlon to McKee, to Best. Looks like there was a hand, and Peter Martin says it was deliberate. Unlucky there from Gavin Jones, but real good skill set from Hinch there through Hanlon and McCall, and they're in the mood to play.
Looks to be maybe a yellow card here. Dara, I think Peter Martin's had enough, and Trinity down to 14.
Gavin Jones, I think it was.
Word on Peter Martin, he certainly allowed the game to flow.
Yeah, indeed. Peter has been a fantastic official who covered the Terranure Clontarf game a couple of weeks back. One of his big things is allowing the game to flow. Very good communicator, and I think both sides will be very happy with him today. Often, Stuart, with referees, you only hear they've had a good game when he's not spoken about, but important to give him plaudits.
Yeah, definitely, and they're so important to our game, to say the obvious, and seems to be doing well climbing up the ladder in Ireland for referees. Of course, was over with the under-20s, doing stuff when Wales were playing England a couple of weeks ago, was assistant over there.
McKee feeds, Ballynahinch bounce the back line towards the left hand side. Hutley orchestrating again, but the Ballynahinch forwards deciding the backs won't have the ball just yet. There's some pleasantries being exchanged here. A couple of bodies on the ground.
And really, apart from the one scrum time that Trinity got on top, Ballynahinch have definitely had 3 or 4 penalties, haven't they?
Yeah, indeed. You tend to see that in games perhaps where a team has asserted dominance early doors. There might be one where they take the eye off the prize with Ballynahinch, and through their forwards, coach John Gunson, that scrum all season has been a real weapon.
James Simpson, he's played for Ulster back over 10 years ago, so real club man, mini rugby man here as well. 25 years at the club or so not a bad man to bring on.
It's one of the great stories. As we said, you so often see players when they're done with the pro game. But Hinch with that really good connection, and Peter Martin reverses the penalty. And Egan lands the ball right into Stuart McAvoy here.
Couldn't even call a mark there.
He can spiral it back to him if he has the space. Stuart McAvoy has given the ball back to the Trinity. He hasn't thrown it into his gear bag to take it up the road.
Monkstown seconds was my highlight reel there 4 years ago, and I think I'll stay with that.
Baird gets the call from Kelly. Peter Martin asking for the receiver for Trinity, which is Felix Campbell. Liam Nolan backtracks. Baird over the top again, and Hanlon profits. McCall throws the ball out just across the hands of Milligan. Best hits Graham. Graham's been so good with the ball in hand all afternoon, and he's off again, and Graham beats 2 would-be tacklers on that left-hand touchline. McKee out the back of Hanlon. Hinch trying to utilise that space and go coast to coast, and Mark Best looks up, a little dink over the top. Ted Walsh is going to go, ball bounces up on him, but Lunny has an opportunity here, stays disciplined and on his feet does Lunny. Trinity working hard to ruck out over, but Lunny does get his paws on the ball, and Hinch will have a penalty 5 metres from the line. Will they elect to go quickly, or will they take a scrum or go to the corner? They're spoiled for choice as Thomas Connolly enters the fray again for Trinity.
That was Best literally in full
Lunny
flight.
goes quickly. McDonough again scrambles very, very well for Trinity. Cladera picks up the ball. McKee telling his forwards to get around the corner, but they're held up over the course of the line. And Trinity will have a goal line dropout.
Yeah, I was just about to say there before, we can hardly take our eyes off this. Mark Best, crucial there, reverse pass and then scanning and putting a crossfield kick, and that's him in his element at his best, pulling the strings.
Best so influential all season for Hinch as the ball bounces and bobbles to Hutley. Brings in Milligan. Lovely little placement from Milligan, gives McKee a little bit more time, and Hutley moves it out to Best. Best, lovely inside, lovely little out the back from Graham. He's got Hannon on the inside, and Graham is going to go. Graham's going to step outside, but he's well tackled by McDonough, and he gives it across to McCall, to Hanlon, and Josh Hanlon scores Ballynahinch's 6th try, and that's game, set and match, and Hinch in irresistible form. Stuart McAvoy, and some great rugby to show.
Yeah, what Mark and Best can do, Ethan Graham can do the exact same thing. Distribution brilliant, no look pass. I'd love to have a look at that last pass to see if it went forward, but for the 6th try, doesn't matter too much. It's game, set and match, and really they've opened the wings in the second half, and great to watch from up here.
They have indeed. Mark Best, as we said, so good all afternoon for Ballynahinch and all season, taking that ball in and giving space on the outside for Graham, who offloaded to Hanlon to score there. The bonus point win, Stuart, does mean that Ballynahinch do gain 1 point on Lansdowne, on Young Munsters, after their win against Lansdowne. So it is going to be a good afternoon all around, even when they hear the result after the game.
Yeah, you're right. 1 point could be so crucial come the end of the season. If you'd offered Adam Craig that before today, he certainly would have bit your hand off.
Hutley strikes well, but it just tails off to the right hand side, and the score, as we enter the dying embers of the game, is 36 points to 8 for Ballynahinch. And it's been a work-like performance of sorts, Stuart, but the skill set has been very, very impressive.
Yeah, I think it has, but also I think we've got to give them full credit. It's been a very good day out.
Mark Best decides to go for a canter. He's got options left and right. Well marshalled by Nolan there. Had too much choice, he did, and Josh Hanlon just about having his pocket picked, and Trinity have the ball just inside the Ballynahinch half, trying to finish strong here in Ballymacarn Park. The college outfit. Colbert takes the ball from Nolan. Nolan dinks it in behind, looking for that 50-22, and the bounce works well in his favour, but it's well fielded by Gemfrey. Sevens man, the little show and go, gets outside Colbert, and he's gone off on a canter. Led very well by Campbell. Been very impressive work rate wise, the back rower for Trinity. Milligan trying to go. Peter Martin unsided there, and Gemfrey on the move here on the left hand side. Does try and get around McMahon, and Gemfrey bringing his sevens back around into the game. McDonough has the ball. Another of the many Trinity men who have worked very hard all afternoon, and Nolan plays the ball to Doyle. Doyle is met very, very hard. He's a Chukwu still hunting for work late on. Mark Best goes well. Ted Walsh now on the wing and plays a 9. Gemfrey just runs across the line, and Peter Martin says that is a penalty, and he will go to the bin. And Stuart McAvoy, we have seen this Hinch team, the replacements that have come on have added to it. There's a real spice to it, and they are not finished until that whistle is going.
No, Gemfrey, he may get a yellow here, but it's just, as you say, on his travels. It's turning into a bit of a sevens the last 5 minutes, isn't it, Dar?
We would have liked that at the start of the game, Stuart, but Gemfrey has his race run, a wry smile, happy with his afternoon's work, and why not, apart from the yellow card. Egan puts Trinity into the 22.
Well educated as well there. Gemfrey went to Cambridge and scored 2 tries in the varsity, but still has a rare smile there, maybe not one of his brightest moments.
I'm sure his tenor will go into the Hinch end of season fund for his malpractice. Trinity just walking slowly into that line out. Barron has been good all afternoon and elects to call the ball on himself, and they go for that little transfer towards the right hand side, and Trinity eking towards the line, and they do manage to get over, do they? And Peter Martin says they have, and inside that flurry of bodies, we haven't seen who's gotten up with the ball there, but bittersweet for Trinity there, Stuart. We had spoken about them early doors in the first half with those 2 maul sets. They were just in around getting a try. Campbell losing the ball early in the first half in front of the clubhouse, and they just about get the try at the end.
Yeah, A lot of tired bodies out there. And a consolation, as you say, but well deserved there, and them all look pretty good.
Egan strikes it very well, does Egan. That goes through the posts. Ballynahinch lead 36 points to 15 as we enter the final stages. Stuart, the unenviable task of man of the match here in Ballymacarn Park this afternoon.
Yeah, you put me on the spot again, have you?
Well, there's been highlights from both sides, I think. If you want to name a few, not to leave any guys down.
Yeah, well, I think Dan Barnes been great for Trinity.
As Trinity, excuse me, Stuart, go on a rampaging run on the outside there. A little bit of a chip kick from Hutley to restart the game, and Nolan. Trinity trying to finish very, very strong here. Campbell met by the Inch defence. Nolan to Colbert on the way out the back to Jones to McDonough. He's got Egan. He's got Ted Walsh trying to get that switch. You could see what he's doing, but Mark Best does very, very well there, going to the very, very end. But Stuart McAvoy, you were saying?
Yeah, I was just saying, I was doing the visitors first. Dan Barnes been good, but really for the home team, could name plenty. Izuchukwu is probably my man of the match, I think. Greg Hutley's been very good, but I'm going to give it to the second row. I think he's come back from Ulster duty and done very well today and really led from the front.
Hard to disagree with that. Cormac Izuchukwu, Stuart McAvoy's man of the match. He's got some confectionery, a bottle of white I think he'll be giving him after the game. Hanlon, Lunny dummies to the back, gets to the front, palms it back to McKee, hits Simpson, the big man, with a bit of a step to get on the outside. McKee and Hinch just about knock it on, and Peter Martin says that will be that in Ballymacarn Park. The full-time score here in this Energia All-Ireland League game. Ballynahinch bonus point winners 36 points to 15 against Dublin University. Stuart McAvoy, the second half, sum it up for us.
Yeah, well, as we asked for in the first, we got plenty of tries. I think Ballynahinch were just a gear above today. Really, as I talked about, their game plan worked as good as they would have wanted, and really their powerful pack led the way and their backs chipped in and behind, but they were too good for the university side today, Dar.
And in terms of the message after the game, Tony Smead for Trinity spoke before the game about them. They would need to perform very, very well. They did perform, they worked very, very hard, but ultimately the chances that they had, they didn't take, and they didn't come away with anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, he would have known that basically to win today they would have had to take in those chances.